You know, I did watch like that early '80s Hercules movie with
Ooh,
Lou
shit.
Ferrigno. The one where he goes into outer space.
Lou Ferrigno versus the Three Stooges?
No.
It sounds like something that would be out for real.
It was amazing. After that, in lots of cleavage, as in all early '80s movies, action movies.
Oh yeah,
fantasy movies. What else? Oh, I watched Gods of Egypt right after that, and I forgot that Brendan Thwaites was in that movie.
I made it. I don't know, not even 5 minutes in that movie before I was like, "Fuck this."
Yeah,
I'm
it was
out.
definitely fucking different. I don't know. I watched it while I was too lazy to change the controller in the hotel room. You
I would have done the same thing.
I think the Lou Ferrigno movie was better.
Yeah. That one, Gods of Egypt, man, it just looked cool. And then you're watching it and you're like, why are they bigger than everybody? Oh, wait a minute. What the fuck? Oh, I'm done.
It's because they're gods. Gods are bigger than people.
They're like, this is Egypt. It's only Egyptian women. They're Egyptian men.
Are quite good. Attack warning. Is it for real? Attack warning. It's for bloody real.
Live from Colorado Springs, the Drop Culture Podcast.
Want to confirm, is this an exercise? Roger, copy. This is not an exercise.
Come on, quick, get down. 1, 2, 3.
Welcome, everybody, to the Dropped Culture Podcast. This is that podcast with me, Dan, and
me, Brock,
and him, Brock.
Me, Brock.
And this is that podcast where we pick up that piece of pop culture you forgot about or missed, shine it up real nice, and cram it in your ear holes. And this is a little different episode because this is our end of the year, super spectacular, best of 2021 episode. Overall, before we get started, Brock, I want your summation of 2021.
Ooh. New beginnings.
Okay.
Yep.
I'm with that.
100%. That's the only thing I could really say. A lot of things have been brand new this year.
That is for sure. On a personal level, for both of us, we both started new positions, new jobs.
Yes.
And then
this year has been long, huh?
You know, it's weird because it has felt really long, but like the last quarter of it seemed like it went by in like a blink.
No shit.
Yeah.
It was like the very first part of the year, it was like everything was at a crawl. And then Christmas didn't feel like Christmas. Did it feel like Christmas to you at all?
Not really. I mean, it was nice to hang
Exactly.
out with family and be close and, you know.
But it wasn't full of like the holiday spirit, you know?
Yeah. The Christmas day was really good. Everything else, leading up to it didn't really feel like, you know, you didn't have that anticipatory, it's Christmas. You know.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I know. Everybody that I've talked to is kind of in that same position. I don't know what it was. It's all the bad news that everybody was trying to give us, you know?
Yeah. Well, you know what I say. Fuck the media.
Fuck the police.
You know,
whoops, sorry.
Wow. That's between you and Jesus. His name's Brock Smith. His address is... No, just kidding.
I live in Manitou Springs, Colorado.
Hey, wait a minute.
Yeah, no, it was a weird year. But like I said, new beginnings. I think that's the best way. There's a lot of things that changed in my life. There's a lot of things that changed in yours. One thing that was constant was this podcast.
That's right.
And that was really great too, because this podcast is something that we've always been able to work on, but then take time out of all of that craziness and everything just to have fun.
That's right.
You know,
Absolutely.
talk
Have
about what
fun.
we want to talk about.
And
Yeah.
sometimes, like over the Quickcast, we do occasionally talk about things that are going on in the world. But it's a great way to just kind of meet that stuff out as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
And just, I don't know, bullshit a lot. That's why we got the Quickcast. You know, it was mainly gonna be, you know, movie news and shit like that. But hey, it's ended up where it's at, which is pretty cool. It's organic.
that's right.
You know,
Organic,
listen to a lot
like
of
a fungus.
Yeah, listen to a lot of different podcasts over the year. Not many per se, you know, not many for somebody that is on a podcast. But
I don't think that's
but,
necessarily indicative of how many podcasts you listen to being on a podcast.
yeah, some people find it weird. They're like, if you're on a podcast, why don't you listen to podcasts? I don't know. I don't got time.
I, on the other hand, listen to a crap ton of podcasts just because I drive a lot. It's either music or podcasts all the time.
Well,
So I did get some
don't-
new ones this year as well.
don't you think that's a good place to start for the best of?
Sure.
What do you think was your favorite podcast this year?
Ooh. I think, oddly enough, I think one of my favorite podcasts this year, this was the year I got more into, like, audio dramas.
Okay.
So there's, I'm going to give a couple shout outs right here. Some of them don't need our help. You know what I mean? I really enjoyed the Marvel Wastelander stuff that we spoke about. It's kind of Old Man Star-Lord, Old Man Hawkeye, and now we're getting a Black Widow one actually at the end of this week starts.
Cool.
So those are really good. I enjoyed even there was the one they put out on HBO Max. Actually was the Batman something Death of Gotham or whatever it was, or it was really good too, and it was like really 1940s radio announcing kind of stuff going on within it too, which was kind of cool. Commercials and things, you know, and maybe not
Gotcha.
maybe not 40s. I don't know what the time period would have been, you know, that I'm thinking
Yeah.
of, but it was pretty cool. And then the Luchador podcast, I'm gonna screw it up, but it's the 1,000 Fights of Fuego Fuertes. Yes. And you know, where the Mexican wrestling champion of Mexico City fights vampires.
That's pretty awesome.
And it was original, and I like that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So that would be what I'd throw out there. Obviously, I listen to a lot of nonfiction stuff, and there's some good stuff out there for that, or maybe not even nonfiction, because some of it, who knows, conspiracy wise, you know, I listen to a lot of
Right.
that stuff too. But
Yeah.
I would say the reason that I was listening to these is going to be exciting for us in 2022, as we're going to do our own audio drama this year.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So kind of getting that. We've sort of done something. I'm really proud of the Lobo one.
I enjoyed the Lobo
Yeah.
one a lot.
I'm really proud of it because it was a lot of work, but it came together really fast, and it was really cool for what it was. You know what I mean?
100%. I think the reason
That's why I want to
I'm
do it again.
even
Yeah.
more excited about this is that it's our own original stuff.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. We basically, that was like a dry run
Right.
for anything that we would do like that. So we know we could do it, which
And
I think
even
is
better
that's
now
the
because
best
we
part.
have way better equipment now.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the best part. I think that we could really do a very good job, and I think it's going to be fun because we have the right tools now.
Right.
You know, I think a lot of that shit comes down to just like if you're woodworking or if you're, you know, working on a house or something like that, you got to have the right tools.
100%.
Do the job correctly. And if you reach
only
into
need
that
the
tool bag.
if you only need the tool for one thing, go to Harbor Freight. No, just
Exactly.
kidding, sorry.
Yeah, exactly. You're not going to keep it for long. And if somebody steals it or something like that, it's okay. So
When are you going to need that impact wrench again? Come on.
come on, one more time. But you can go buy another one for $14. But yeah, no, it's podcasting this year. I did listen to a little bit more. Did you have any more?
No, I mean, there's plenty of other, like I said, nonfiction and dialogue-based ones. I think I'll throw those ones out for this year, though. That's kind of where I feel like I broaden my horizons a little more. I would
Right.
say on that, you know. So it's
Okay.
more like listening to Audible, kind of. You know what I mean? Like a book. But
Yes.
but some of them are presented in different ways. And it's weird that, like, for our show that we're going to do, that, like, I had an idea and it's similar but different to an idea that somebody else put out. Like, not story-wise, but just the way it's
yeah.
delivered. Does that
Okay.
make sense?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
what about you? What's new for you on the podcast horizons, Mr. Broccoli?
You know, it's the one podcast that I've been listening to the most, because my wife got me into it, was the Theories of the Third Kind. Since we've been doing a lot of traveling, the Theories of the Third Kind is something that we both enjoy listening to, and they have a lot of really just out there stuff that not a lot of people know. So it's a major part of drop culture, because these things happen in our culture, and to listen and find out that there was a boat that sank that could have been sunk by a freaking Russian U-boat or something, or
Sure.
time travelers or UFOs and things like that. The guys are really good at that. So again, probably if you've already listened to us before, you've heard me talk about it, which is pretty cool. And then, just some more conspiracy ones and history, because I listened to a little bit of a JFK one. Nah, I wasn't really into it. And then, the Battle of Sand Creek, the Sand Creek Massacre.
Yeah.
Listened to a 30-minute podcast about that, which is pretty good. And then also checked one out about the Battle of Verdun. So, I'm getting more into the World War I stuff. So there's going to be a buttload of stuff.
Sure.
Just for an example, Archduke Franz Ferdinand was killed on the 28th of June, and they signed the Treaty of Versailles on the 28th of June.
That's right.
So the beginning and the end of World War I was on the same day.
There you go.
So it's freaking crazy. So, but yeah, no, I mean, if you want to listen to it, all you got to do is just type in what subject you want. And you're like, so since we're only about 2 hours and 15 minutes, that's going to lead me to go out to Sand Creek.
Yeah.
And go visit the Sand Creek Massacre Memorial and all that stuff like that. So
I've been out that way for sure.
Yeah. When we drove by it, I was like, I want to do that.
In fact, maybe, and this is just something we might be able to do. I actually know a person who wrote a book about that.
Oh, shit.
So if we would like to do a show on that, we absolutely could. I'm sure I could get that person to come on.
That would be pretty awesome. Yes. So you're hearing that now, everybody. We might be doing a Sand Creek Massacre, because I think that's something that everybody needs to remember.
Absolutely.
It was a big day.
It's weird
But other
that you
than that,
mentioned
though-
that, because, like, just earlier this week, I was up somewhere that referenced that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know,
And
synchronicities.
I was reading about it. It was because of that, and I had already read about that because I kind of worked down in one of those in that area. But I was like on the opposite side, so it was weird. And it was just a weird thing. I wasn't there, but I've been there.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was strange.
Well, I left right before it happened. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, I got out.
Don't ask him to explain where he's been the last 200 years.
I think that's a big direction that our show is going to go into, is going to be a little bit more abstract, but not necessarily out of the realm of what we would normally talk about in everyday life. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think our idea is, of course, we're going to keep doing what we do, that we love, and that hopefully you guys love, or you wouldn't keep listening. And you do, and we appreciate that. But also making it a little more diverse in our outings, I would say.
Yes.
And not in every episode, but like in, having some targeted episodes.
Yeah, specific to some weird things.
Yeah.
Things that are pretty cool that we know about, and things that we would like to share with everybody. So
Absolutely.
not just podcasts, and because we'll always talk about movies and stuff like that. So movies and comic books and television shows, you
And
know.
speaking of that, what are we going to move on to now? That was our podcast section.
You want to talk about television?
Sure.
Okay. So what was your, I don't know, what was a TV show that you really, really liked? Not necessarily that you watched again, but what was one that you really enjoyed and you're going to watch again?
So and I'm going to feel weird to say this, but it was just the Marvel shows. I'll be honest with you. Those were the ones that I looked forward to when they came out. Those are the ones I watched some of the episodes again. And I really tried to discern like which one was my favorite, you know, so I could give you a top of 2021. Man, that's hard. They're so they're so different, but they're all done so well. Like I really love WandaVision for the way they did something in a whole different way, you know, like they progressed through the sitcom thing and through her mind, and then it all tied
Right.
into, that was so original and cool. So
Each
really
of them
loved
had
that.
their own. Yeah.
Absolutely. And then you had Falcon and Winter Soldier. Obviously, you and I have talked about it ad nauseum. We both loved that character and those characters. We loved the way that it's more of espionage kind of real grounded show, if you will. Even though, like,
Yes.
and I will still say that fight scene at the beginning with Falcon and those planes and trying to get the dude from Balrog.
Yeah.
Batroc, sorry. And that was maybe one of the best aerial scenes I've ever seen in anything.
Right.
Like, more than Top Gun. Maybe not the new one, old Top Gun. But I haven't seen that one yet. I really enjoyed Loki for a whole different myriad of reasons. It opened up our whole eyes to this whole variant thing, you know what I mean? And then to top it off with Hawkeye. And I didn't even mention What If. And I really enjoyed that show. That was probably the one show I was looking the most forward to be honest with you, was What If.
Yeah.
And I would say it's probably the mid-tier out of all these if I had to put them in order.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say WandaVision for doing it in a different way than I ever expected. And tying so many things in. From Monica Rambeau, Agatha Harkness, Speed and Wiccan. They brought back the guy from Fox that played Quicksilver, Boner. You know what I mean? Like all of that stuff, the commercials that they had in there, the Hydra commercials, you know, and all that. So cool, man. So cool. So that would probably be my number one television show, WandaVision.
I everything you said about it, I feel the same way. Every one of them has their own little place, and they're all individually different, and they were all individually great.
Yeah.
So it's very hard to kind of say which one was the best, which one you thought you liked the most, because I think I was looking forward to What If quite a bit, but mainly the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, because that one turned out to be exactly what you wanted.
Right.
There's no bones about that one. It was there. U.S. Agent is in it. They introduced this whole different kind of coolness. You know what I mean?
Zemo being back in it. Oh man.
Fucking yeah, Zemo. I mean, come on.
If nothing else, for that little GIF thing we got, or that video of just him dancing, over and over again, was worth the whole show.
Yeah, I mean,
but we got Isaiah Bradley, dude. We got Isaiah Bradley on that. How cool.
There's so many different aspects of that show that just like every one of them, like you said, just even with WandaVision, with Loki and the multiverse, you have all those extra things. And then they even did a multiverse show with What If that tied everything together. So that had its own deal. You had Marvel Zombies, you had Worlds Colliding in that.
Marvel Zombies whole show now.
That's so crazy. It's, I'm gonna pretty much just reiterate what you said. They were all great. There are some other ones though that I think those were good, but there's a lot more that I want to mention.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. There's other stuff that I watch, but if I had to pick one, it's going to be one of those Marvel shows.
Yeah, exactly. I think this was a big year for Marvel
Absolutely.
because they wrapped up their 10-year deal a couple of years ago, 10-year arc, and then they went to TV. And the TV has really been paying off for them.
Right.
And of course, when did we lose Stan Lee? When was it?
It's 2 years ago now, right?
2 years? Yeah.
I think
yeah.
so. I don't know offhand, but I believe
Yeah.
so.
So this is all post Stan Lee shit.
Right.
You know what I mean? Post Stan Lee, all in the making. And then Disney Plus has been probably Disney Plus and HBO Max have been really, really good streaming services as far as original content.
Yeah.
And blown it out of the water. So, but Netflix is still a player with shows like The Squid Game.
Absolutely. I did not watch The Squid Game.
Oh, you need to,
it got
man.
Super hyped up to the point where I was like, "I'll wait."
Yeah.
I've
I
heard
mean,
enough about it now.
Yeah, I think you should watch it. I think you'd like it. It was really cool.
I have a friend zone for TV shows. It's called Game of Thrones. And that's where I put it in a little thing where I'm like, "Yep, I'll watch that someday."
Yeah, that's me with Game of Thrones.
Same.
One of these,
same.
it's gonna be there. So if I got 2 months to kill, I'll just watch them all.
Yeah, absolutely.
But then, of course, one of my favorite shows, looking forward to it a lot, was What We Do in the Shadows.
Yeah.
Didn't disappoint. The newer season should be freaking awesome. I love that show. And the one, there's two of them. Of course, the true crime was really big this year too. Last 2 years, true crime has been really big. There's like 4 Ted Bundy movies?
Yeah, I would say
right
the last
now,
5 years, it's been nothing but.
I watched a great Ted Bundy movie, which the guy was like fucking amazing as Ted Bundy, and it had Elijah Wood in it. So I forgot what the name of it is, but if you get a chance, it's a decent movie to watch because it's just about his last 2 weeks in prison.
Yeah.
And it's not graphic, it's not anything. It's just kind of like My Dinner with Andre type of a deal. You know what I mean?
Sure.
They're just sitting there having clams. But we had the Night Stalker series, which I thought that was a really good one. That's a good one to mention. But the Underground Railroad was a freaking crazy badass show.
I haven't seen that.
It was good enough that I really think that it needed a top mention because it was just so unusual, but yet I don't know. It's hard to describe. So, and it's been a while since I watched it, but that was one that I was like, oh yeah, that was really good.
Okay.
Then the one that really is freaky is Brand New Cherry Flavor.
Yeah, that
Holy
is a
shit.
crazy show. I don't know if that
so
would
fucking weird.
That's definitely an honorable mention for me. I don't know that it's in my top tier by any means, but it's definitely different. And if you like something different, that's the way to go.
Yeah, everything
else.
Yeah, right. Way unlike anything else, and anything in my little best of here for these is going to be top tier for me.
Sure.
Of course you got all those Marvel ones, but Cowboy Bebop, unexpectedly badass.
Absolutely. I still haven't completed the season, and I know it's the only season now.
Yeah, killer.
Yeah.
Killer. Really cool. Really reminds you of the TV show. So if you like the TV show, you're gonna like this. And there's even in the last couple of days, last 2 days of the year, we get Boba Fett, the Book of Boba Fett, which we've been wanting for an entire year, and we get it, and it fucking pays off.
First episode for sure. I think that'll probably be in our 2022 because most of that show will be in that time. But you're 100% right. I mean, if you're going to start something off, that was the way to do it. It was spectacular. I loved even Robert Rodriguez's direction. I don't know if it was his decisions or the cinematographer where the lighting, when you can tell he's in the dream state and then it changes perspective and that lighting goes away. Was super cool. Super cool.
It's super saturated and everything. You're kind of oh, it's harsh, but then you adjust to it.
Yes.
It's fucking super cool. Yeah.
So I don't know if this guy will. I'm just interrupting yours for a minute.
No. No, I only have one left.
Oh, well, go ahead and do yours, and I'll talk about mine.
No. It's going to tie into, I guess, our next one miniseries.
Okay.
Yeah. So go ahead.
Oh, okay. I want to, and I don't know if this counts. I guess this year, but Cobra Kai, dude, did not disappoint. I looked forward to that. That's a show that my wife and I watched together. In fact, on New Year's Eve, we binged the entire season. We just watched the whole season.
Damn.
And we enjoyed the shit out of it. So
that's probably what I'm going to do tonight.
Yes,
myself.
Cobra Kai. So I don't want that not to be in our discussion. I know because I think last year didn't it come out right before the end of the year as well in December?
Think so.
And so I think that would have we're kind of missing a year if you don't. You know what I mean? So definitely check that out if you haven't because it's well worth it. It is for me. Like on that same tier with those Marvel shows, you know what I mean? And I haven't and I'm going to be honest with you, I haven't seen a show on regular television that I'm excited about watching in a long, long time. You know what I mean? Like that's not on a streaming service.
Right.
And there's shows out there, like I said, my wife watched The Big Leap. I watched part of that with her and it was good. I mean, the acting was good and everything.
Yeah.
For me, it's not my cup of tea, and that's okay. But for me, like I seldom see shows. I did want to do one more little Marvel shout out though, the MODOK animated series with Patton Oswalt. Patton Oswalt was awesome. That was funny.
Yes.
So
that was really good too. That one was kind of more low key than anything. Not low key, but low key.
I really thought your number one show would have been Masters of the Universe.
No, it was great. It was great, but it was.
I knew you had some love for it.
Oh my
Not
God!
That I enjoyed it as well, but
yeah, I thought it was bitching. I think it got a lot of fucking unwarranted bullshit, from fanboys can fuck up everything.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's just the way it is.
For sure.
And I don't think it got its credit because it included everything from that universe. They did not leave anything out, which was so totally cool. That's like a Masters of the Universe dream show.
Yeah.
And it was so cool that they didn't concentrate on He-Man.
Absolutely, that's just one aspect of that show. So, yeah. I agree.
They did show you, Eternia, and they did show you like the Wonder Bread He-Man, and it was just weird shit that you're like, whoa, where did that come from, And they didn't even really get into the evil Horde or Hordak and shit like that,
Right.
So they could do some more, Mossman was awesome.
I'm sure
he was more like an elemental,
Right.
which was a cool like switch for him being like that.
He was Swamp
There's
Thing.
just a lot of really cool things about it. Yeah, he was Swamp Thing. No shit.
Yeah.
It's Mossman Swamp Thing. But yeah, no. Yeah, I should have mentioned that, but it wasn't really up on my top list because they did split it in two.
That is true.
If they would have done it all at once, I think it would have been it would have ended better for the actual creators of the show.
Right.
But
okay, so that's TV.
What do you huh?
That's TV shows?
Yeah, what do you have for miniseries?
So, miniseries?
Like 3-parters, 4-parters.
Okay. So I'm going to throw a weird one into this because this is the way it probably should be digested. And I'll say Zack Snyder's Justice League.
That's a good one. That's a good one because I put that on my movies category, but I could see that. Yeah, I could see that because what was crazy though? Watching that and watching it all the way through at once wasn't hard.
No, I watched it all the way through myself. I
didn't even realize it.
I did pick up the second time and just start watching the chapters.
Oh, okay.
Just for something to put on, like while I'm doing other shit.
Right. Might be something I have to do again because one sitting, it's like that Martin Scorsese gangster movie that was like 4 hours.
The Irishman?
And like, holy shit. Yeah, I made it through that. I was proud about it.
I'm trying to think what other specials, like 2 or 3 parters, miniseries rather. You said not specials. I'm gonna kick this over to you and let me put my brain on that to make sure that I'm covering all the things I need to cover.
Well, I'm going to put it with the Beatles Get Back.
Oh, okay. Then yes, that's on my
Yeah.
list 100%. I didn't know if that was a special miniseries for sure.
Yeah.
That is definitely on the list. That was
Yeah.
probably, like, you and I have talked about it, and that's probably one of the best things to come out this last year.
The whole year,
Yeah.
to me. Yeah. It's just, I don't care if they were just bullshitting about what they're drinking. You know what I mean?
Right.
It was like, I have never seen this. You know, this is something that's not Help or, you know, where they're running away from imaginary tanks and shit, you know. This was just a really cool glimpse into the greatest rock and roll band of all time's songwriting process and what they were going through at the time. And you didn't have a lot of beyond that either. So there's
Right.
still mystery left. And there's still millions of books to be written about them. There's still all this extra stuff that we don't have automatically. But this little time period opened Let It Be back up to me as far as the record goes. And I wake up with that in my head now. You know, it's just another time period of their songwriting that was incredible, which it seems like every one of theirs, and it was so effortless and easy for them, which was cool. And seeing the rooftop concert in full from
Right.
different angles and everything was just like, wow. So now whenever you're listening to it, you're like, holy shit, that's right there. That's wherever he created that, you know?
100%.
So-
For me, I think it created that same feeling, and I know we've talked about it on the show before, of that Acoustic Submarine CDs that I had, where it was just
Mhm.
them talking, you know, and like playing around and recreated that feeling, but in a different space, obviously in time. You know what I mean?
Right.
Years apart.
Right.
But it was cool to have that feeling again. That was kind of neat. But I really enjoyed that. I know you got to it before I did as far as watching it. But
And
it
yeah,
was well
I
worth
just
it. It was well worth it for sure.
I absorbed it, and if anything moved around me on the rooftop, I paused it because I was like, I want to experience this shit, you know.
absolutely.
Which, you know, Weta Studios and Peter Jackson has done amazing things with these archival kind of movies, like he did with the World War One, We Shall Not Be Forgotten. You know, there's just there's so much stuff out there that can benefit from technology, you know.
Yeah.
And come on, this looked better than a lot of the movies that are out right now.
Absolutely.
This miniseries was like, holy crap, this looks so cool, so brand new. It doesn't look pixelated and shitty, you know,
Yeah.
or just like some, you know, copy of a copy of a copy of a copy, because they never released that record.
Right.
You know, everybody knows the story of Let It Be. And Abbey Road, wasn't Abbey Road their last one?
I believe so.
I think so. But shit, they had all that material done. They weren't even in the studio at the same time then. You know what I mean? And you have this really broad spectrum of music that they had in this. You know, you have their early stuff. You have their very well orchestrated stuff. You have the right mix of what these people were, you know, at that time, and kind of how they ended.
It was their last one was Abbey Road. You were correct.
Yeah, and that was just like leftovers from this
Right.
and some other shit. They're like, let's put it on this one,
Just put it
you
together.
know. So yeah, like Maxwell Silver Hammer,
Yes.
you know, which they showed that being recorded there, but yet it's not on Let It Be, you know.
Right.
So you get to see some of those things. Them just goofing around in the studio, them just goofing around playing. Yeah, if you've ever played music, it's really cool to see that, you know, from those people, because you thought that they almost come out fully formed.
Well, not only that, but I think that knowing what was going on in that time period and seeing their interaction being the way it was really interesting. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 1969. So crazy that was 69.
But you get to see like a lot of the inner, like where each individual kind of was. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In a different space than where they had been even 2-3 years ago. You know what I mean at that time?
Yeah, and just seeing the way George felt, he's like, "Fuck y'all, I'm out."
Right.
You know. And before that, he was like, "I can't play that shit." It's like George Harrison is one of the greatest guitar players out of all time. I would say he's up there in the top 20. He's not Hendrix or Stevie Ray Vaughan or whatnot. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Technical, but what he did was amazing. And for him to be like not confident, that's the one thing that struck me the most about that. I was like, he kept saying, well, I can get my friend Eric Clapton in here. He can do this. Eric's fucking badass. Eric's this. Hendrix was playing big time at this point.
Sure.
You know what I mean? He was out there everywhere. And it's like, George Harrison, you're not confident? What the fuck is this?
Well, and you can tell he had a whole different experience of confidence prior to this.
Yeah.
Being in America, you know, and hanging out with those guys. So super cool, you know, and again, a different dynamic.
But
what
you also
expect.
see, yeah,
you know, like again, had we seen a microcosm of the Beatles interactions 5-10 years prior, you know?
Yeah, would it have ended as soon? But then you also got to consider
Well,
that
just a whole different interaction. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah,
you know, whole different dynamic.
like Paul. Right. Yeah, Paul was kind of always like, no, do it like this. Do it like this. Do it like this. I'm Paul McCartney. You know what I mean?
Right.
And he's just like, nah, fuck it. You know, I'm just going to play along. And then he wanted to break free. He wanted to do his own things. And yeah, him and Ringo both did have their own songs on the albums, but it was generally like one or two.
Right.
You know, it wasn't that many. And
well, it's hard when you have Lennon and McCartney. I mean, you know what I mean? I mean, what are you going to, you're just hoping to get in somewhere. You know what I mean?
Right.
You just happen to be a
that's
part
the
of
thing.
the process.
Yeah. And whenever he left you know, they're just like, holy shit. You know, you could tell that they were kind of they were acting like, no, that's not a big deal. But then, you know, you got the Yoko thing and I don't know. It was a really cool show to see these people, even though they're looked at as almost deities when it comes to music, especially John Lennon and Paul McCartney. You get to see their insecurities. You get to see their, you know, wanting to do so good because they always got to do better than the last one, you know. And they had been doing that fucking forever,
right?
And they're like, I'm done. I don't know what to do. And you could tell that Paul McCartney wanted to be, because he even said he was pretty much the de facto leader in that. But he took on that mantle and he never let it go, and he loved playing live.
Right.
When they're playing on the roof, you're just like, George is like, still kind of insecure. Ringo's like, I don't give a shit.
You've been
John's
drinking,
trying to
Ringo.
act all
No
funny.
beer, no Bacardi.
Yeah, I'm just the drama mate. And then you get to see Paul is like really acting out because that's what he loves. You know, he loved being on stage. As we see later in the 70s with Wings, you know, it's all about it.
It never really seemed to me Ringo lacked any confidence in that those interactions, though. He was just,
not at all.
He's like, I'm Ringo Starr. I'm drumming.
Well, yeah.
Beatles, you know?
I mean, come on.
But,
yeah, he's like,
but
I'm
George
gonna go
Harrison
hang out with me
definitely
mates.
did, you know.
Yeah,
for sure.
You got to see those three that were in the front side of it, while the one in the back was just like, I don't give a shit because guess what? I could do whatever the fuck I want.
I'm getting paid,
and it's cool.
Bitches.
Yeah. They were interacting with each other's kids. I just thought it was one of the best things to come out of the whole year.
Yeah,
you know?
I think that, you know, we've talked about it a little bit too. Obviously, what's really cool about when something like this comes out, now everybody's digging into the Beatles discography. Everybody I talk to, you know.
Yeah.
And you and I have talked about that probably again ad nauseum, but there's so much to love. Everybody's got their own place in the Beatles discography, which is what I like. And sometimes they overlap, you know, but everybody's got a piece that they call home, you know?
Yeah.
Which is cool.
Or or as a whole, you're like, I take it all, but you
Sure.
just get into certain eras
Well, and yeah,
every once in a while. Yeah.
absolutely. That's exactly what I mean by that. Is
Yeah.
you know, I'm a Beatles fan. That passed on to my daughter, who is a huge Beatles fan. You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I've been buying her vinyls for quite a while.
Nice.
You know, and
Yeah.
but what I find, and you're right, it does depend on the time and where you're at in the world, I guess, to some degree, and when you listen to it. But like, you're absolutely right. You might dig in and be like, hey, I'm going into Abbey Road, like you mentioned, you know, and man, I've been listening to this for 2 months now, you know, I'm in my rotation. Or it might be, you know, you might find a different direction where this just really applies to me now, you know, or it fits my life soundtrack best right now.
Yeah. And that'll be part of like the music that I'm listening to when we talk about that a little bit later.
Okay.
Because it's been a very steadfast year for music too, you know. And
well, we'll
that's going
talk
to be a
about
lot
that
of the Beatles
because,
right there.
yeah, okay, good. We'll talk.
Yeah.
We'll talk when we get to the music section.
Did you have any more television at this point?
No, but let me ask you this. What are you most excited about to come out in television in 2022?
Okay, I got a list. For one, Obi-Wan Kenobi, no doubt about it. Highly anticipated, just like the Book of Boba Fett. Lord of the Rings.
Yeah,
I think it's going to be a really cool series.
Amazon, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Time Bandits.
Yeah.
If they ever do it.
We'll see.
You got Willow as well. So you got Time Bandits and Willow.
Right.
So I think it's about time.
Happy Mad Mardigan.
Moon Knight. Yeah, I know. Yeah, Happy Mad Mardigan. Moon Knight. The Sandman, which is, I think a lot of people are really going to tear it apart, but I think it's going to be a cool show.
I hope so. I really am looking forward to that. I'm a Neil Gaiman fan, though.
I'm gonna start reading a little bit more. I read the first issue, and I'm kind of going through those, you know, at the same time.
Yeah.
I'm going through sagas, and then Dune, the Sisterhood. Because Dune's so goddamn broad and convoluted, you know, you need a guidebook to watch it, you know.
Sure.
But here's three that really did kind of take me off guard. Clarice, which I know.
Isn't that already out?
I don't know. I have to see, which is about Clarice Starling from Silence of the Lambs. Also, Sin City. God, because if they do a cool Sin City, those are great books. That's a great premise.
Yeah, Clarice came out this year.
Cool.
Yeah, it's on. You know, we were talking about how not regular, but that's on a regular network, CBS. So there you
CBS?
go. Yeah.
I'm gonna have to look it up and see if I can find it. And then Judge Dredd, Mega City 1.
Oh, there you go. I did not know that was a thing.
Yep. So those are the ones I would say. Dune, the Sisterhood, is going to be pretty cool if they keep it really dark and mysterious, and the technology. I always like that.
Yeah,
but that's what I'm looking forward to. What are you looking forward to on TV?
I'm really looking forward to Moon Knight. I'm excited to see how they do that. I am also, and I believe we get it this year. Don't quote me on that. But I'm looking forward to the Gotham show, the Gotham PD show that we're going to get on HBO Max.
Okay.
That's like the Batman adjacent Matt Reeves world.
Oh.
So super excited about that. And I would say after the end of Cobra Kai, I'm excited for the new episode of Cobra Kai. I said after this last season of Cobra Kai, I'm super excited for the next one.
Yeah,
for sure. But no, just the ones you mentioned too, like Sandman. I've been excited to see that for a while. Of course, who doesn't like Lord of the Rings? You know what I mean? And they've obviously put $1 bazillion into it. You know, Jeff Bezos
No
is like,
shit.
take all my money. I look like Pitbull now.
Yeah, I'll watch it. Shit, why not? That'll lead to the Silmarillion, all weird shit. You know?
all the shit that I don't know because I'm not that far into it. But you and Mitch keep me abreast. I'm like, yeah, you know, the Silmarillion thing, you know, that thing.
Yeah, the beginnings.
Yeah, whatever it means. But yeah, I mean, we're also getting Secret Invasion. So I'm pretty excited to see how they pull that off, given what they've done so far with the Skrulls and Marvel. You know what I mean? It's not gonna be, I don't know how that's going to be the same. So I'm excited to see that, of course.
But that's what's really cool about, like,
and then all
you
of
know,
the Star Wars stuff that you mentioned, like Book of Boba Fett, Obi-Wan. I mean, we talked about those, but for sure.
Yeah, there's like, oh my God, there's like 3 or 4 Star Wars shows that are coming out
Right.
next year. Stuff that they haven't even made yet.
Yep.
You know, so there's going to be a lot of really cool shit.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
But okay.
For me, I think there's nothing else that, like, really I'm like, man, I can't wait to see that. I'm sure there's stuff that I'm forgetting's coming out, but those are ones off the top of my head as well.
Right. Of course. Yeah, there's always going to be stuff we're going to be like, ah, shit.
Right. Forgot that was a thing.
Damn it.
DC Super Pits.
Yeah. Feces Super Pits.
Gross.
Well, do you want to move on to movies?
Sure.
Okay. So what would be your big mentions for movies this year?
Big mentions for movies. You know, I mean, I got to go hard in the paint with Matrix, Resurrect. No, I'm joking.
Oh my God. No.
No, I'm joking. If you didn't listen to the quick cast, not a fan.
Not a fan at all.
I would say, you know, it was weird because I was looking at, like, you know, what came out in 2021, and I realized that I went and saw like 4 of the top 6 movies in the box office this year, 4 or 5 of them.
Nice.
Mine's not. It was hard, but because everybody knows my leanings, if you've been listening to the show, it's probably going to be a superhero movie. I even tried to create. Here's the thing, though. Here's what was weird. I really tried to create like a list that was non-superhero related. It was very short. There just wasn't a lot that came out where I was like, man, there was a lot of that was pretty good. You know what I mean? But for me, I think the movie that, like, it took my number one was Shang Chi.
Okay.
And 10 Rings. It was just more than I expected, and it was everything I wanted it to be. I love kung fu movies.
Yeah.
I love stuff with superheroes, and I love stuff with mythology, and it had all of it, and it had dragons. Come on.
Right.
You know what I mean? It was like everything you wanted, even to the point where a character that I kind of despised, and that was Trevor Slattery, Ben Kingsley's. Is it Ben Kingsley? No, that's not right. Am I right?
Trevor.
Yeah. Trevor Slattery. I liked his character in it. You know what I mean? It was like brilliantly wrapped up that little story arc with him, you know?
Right.
I don't think I could have asked for much more out of that movie, and it delivered on all the pieces of it.
I've only watched it once, and I am definitely going to watch it again here pretty soon.
And that was a hard one, though, because obviously No Way Home just came out, and that was, Spider-Man No Way Home, a huge movie, and it was really good, but I kind of expected it to have to be. It was almost like Spider-Man's Endgame. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I see that. I really do. I see that, it had a high watermark. I mean, come on, how are you going to top Endgame and all of that shit? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're going to have another Endgame. You're going to have to, every time that they're going to be making these very, very big movies, they have to be bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger.
I think it depends on the beats of the story, whether it has to be as massive as that. But all the marketing we got, we kind of knew this was going to be a massive movie that involved more than just, Tom Holland Spider-Man.
Right.
And we got that. So,
yes.
But but like I said, I think Shang-Chi is the one where I was like, wow. Like, again, took my wife to it, and she's wishy-washy on some of the Marvel movies, you know what I mean? Like, she likes some of them she's like, I'm just tired of, superhero shit, which is understandable.
Yeah.
And, but she loved that movie as well, so that's kind of cool.
It was pretty good. Yeah.
What's your number one movie, sir?
The one that caught me off guard the most and was literally one of the best ones was Old Henry. No shit.
Yeah.
No shit, because, not to be contrary or whatnot and just pick something that's very obscure and weird, but when I had no expectations, and then whenever I was watching it was like, holy crap, this is a really good movie. It didn't have a lot of wasted time. It didn't have a lot of bullshit in it. It was just straight up a Western. This was like an old school type of a Western, but just told in this very, very, very cool way, and it didn't have, these big A-list guys. Didn't need it.
Had Tim Blake Nelson. What more do you need?
I know, right? But see, and that's the thing. It's like Tim Blake Nelson, he is a great actor. He's been on so many things, but you always remember him from Do Not Seek the Treasure. What? You remember, I'm with you, fellas.
Well, and all of his characters are kind of like, he was in Watchmen as well, right? Wasn't he in
Tim Blake Nelson?
Yeah, wasn't he in the Watchmen TV show?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's right. I forgot about that TV show. It's been forever.
It's been a whole year. Or two, whatever. I don't even know. Who knows? But yeah, like he's always that kind of he doesn't
He's an ancillary character.
Ancillary, yeah.
Yeah.
Or even that he's not a lot of energy. Generally,
not really,
not in a real way. But I will say also, I haven't seen Old Henry yet, and I'm excited to. But this is they've made a lot of westerns this year. They made the one with the guy from Lovecraft Country.
Yes.
And then the one other movie, and this is a movie I'm actually excited to watch, and I'll be watching the next couple of days, is The Power of the Dog with Benedict Cumberbatch.
Yeah.
And I believe that's a western as well, right?
Yep. I think we're getting a lot more directors that are willing to go into that. There's a lot of people that are influenced with westerns, and westerns now. You don't have to fuck with the formula,
right?
If you make it very good, people love it. I'll say one of the movies that I discovered this year that I had no idea was Hostiles. And I got to tell you, that was another movie that literally was like, holy crap, this is a great movie. Where did this come from? And it was just amazing to see that. And then Old Henry, I didn't really think much. And, then when I saw it, I was like, oh, what? It's like this was one of the movies that wasn't a Marvel movie that I wanted to start over and watch again.
Nice.
This one I was like, I should watch it again as fast as I can. Just literally pretty cool,
Absolutely.
But other than that, though, I'd almost have to say Dune. Dune was such an epic movie that there's just no way that that's not going to be on anybody's top.
Yeah, that was definitely in
list.
my honorable mentions for sure.
Yeah, it's going to be up there. Also, Halloween 2, very, very, very anticipated for me. It delivered, but not in the way that I guess I'd be like, oh, this is the best one,
I will say I agree with that. But it was nice to have.
Right.
And it took me a minute to watch that one, unfortunately, just life. But as I did, I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
One of the movies I want to mention, too, that kind of kicked off this year that I wasn't expecting was Nobody with Bob Odenkirk. And that was
that was on
great,
my
dude.
list too.
That was
Yeah.
definitely great.
It was like John Wick, but I don't know. It was Bob Odenkirk, which is the crazy part because Bob's funny, but he's playing this serious role, and he's also on the serious role on TV, which is a great show. Which it's been like 2 years since the last season, which should be coming out this year. The last season of that.
Right.
Um,
Better Call Saul.
Better Call Saul. Yeah. But yeah, that was a pretty freaking awesome movie.
Well, and you got the Christopher Lloyd and the RZA. I mean,
yeah,
dude, that was great.
Come on, right?
That set. There's two. It's kind of weird. Like, is what set the tone for the year of movies for me. That came out kind of early was Nobody, and I'm like, okay, man. If there's more of this in the world. So, what movies are you looking forward this year, Brock? In 2022,
there's a lot. There is a lot that is coming out this year, which is going to be pretty bitchin'. Of course, the Batman. You got the Batman coming out.
How can you go
Scream?
wrong?
I'm not going to say I want to see that one, but Morbius.
Yes.
Just because it would be like I don't know, a throwback to the late 90s. That movie, Moonfall.
Oh, yeah.
Where the moon crashes into the earth. Let's kill the world. Yeah. Uncharted,
Yeah.
That
looks good.
Sonic the Hedgehog Part 2. No.
I think for me, like Thor and Love and Thunder, I'm excited about that one. And then I don't know. I know it was weird because it was like one of the biggest DC movies. But I'm really looking forward to the new Aquaman 2.
Yes.
And then don't we also get Black Adam this year?
Yep.
Yeah. So that'll probably be like, I'm not saying one way or the other on Dwayne Johnson. I'm just excited to see a Black Adam movie, and he does seem to embody and really want to do it. You know what I mean? So I'm excited about that.
Yeah, 100%. You give Arnold Vosloo's voice to him, and it would be awesome.
Oh, guess who I found out is my birthday brother? Lance
Henriksen?
Max von Sydow.
Ah, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Doctor Strange.
Oh, of course, yeah. I mean, as we talked about, WandaVision, all that leading up to that, and then of course No Way Home leading into that. I mean, that's going to be the pentultimate, maybe, of these movies.
See, maybe on your birthday, you can take a picture of Max von Sydow with you and go see DC League of Super Pets.
I'll take a picture of him and my other birthday brother, John Madden. R.I.P.
There you go. R.I.P. Mr. Madden.
Oh yeah,
we're getting a new
and another guy named Pulitzer. You might have heard of him. Go ahead.
Didn't he win an award?
I think.
We are getting an Elvis movie, which maybe. There's Thor, Love and Thunder is going to be awesome. New Jurassic Park, the new John Wick.
What's your level of excitement for the new Jurassic Park?
I would say probably like 3-day-old soup. You know what I mean? It's not warm anymore. And if I was starving, I would probably just drink it really quick.
I'm probably more excited for the Pinocchio movie than I am for that movie.
Oh, yeah, I'd probably put that up there. That or Jackass Forever. You know?
Yeah.
Why not?
Absolutely. I was just seeing if that's just me. I always like to gauge things because sometimes I lose interest quicker than other folks, or
Yeah. Well, and I would have to say, I know we're going to cover more of these movies throughout the year, like Scream and everything like that. Yeah. So if you don't have any more, I'd say we move on because I'm going to say
one more real quick.
Cool.
And I'm excited to see Salem's Lot. That'll be good. I'm excited that they're making a remake of that.
I need to rewatch that one. Here, if I can find it, which they have Return to Salem's Lot on TCM. right now, which I heard was one of the worst movies ever.
I've never seen that. And I don't think anybody that was involved was like a part of that.
Yeah, no. No, it was like one of those Lifetime Salem slots. It was a Lifetime movie. Yeah. No, I know we'll talk a lot more about movies this year,
for sure.
TV shows. But would you say the last category's got to be comic books? Maybe.
Sure. I would also throw out. Let's throw out some. You know how they do the little not as important things at the Oscars. They just talk about them real quick.
Yeah.
My favorite animated movie this year was definitely Batman: The Long Halloween.
Okay.
It was a two-parter, but I thought it was really good. That will be what I throw out there.
Okay.
That was, I know a lot of divisiveness around whether people liked or didn't like Batman, Soul of the Dragon. That was a really hard one for me to choose around too, because I like that movie. I don't care what anybody says. 70s Kung Fu.
Yeah, it was a decent movie. Yeah. Yeah.
There's a reason Shang Chi was my number one movie.
Right. Well, I mean, what about comics,
Comics?
What comic books did you read this year that came out this year that you thought were really good?
So one story started in 2020 but wrapped up in 2021, and that was The King in Black. That story with Donny Cates, the Venom storyline, basically, that encompassed all of the Marvel universe. And I really enjoyed all the Null stuff, from Absolute Carnage in 2020 to The King in Black. I don't know that I read every issue, just because there is a ton of side issues in there. I did read the Daredevil one. But like for an apex of a story, and spoiler alert, to see a guy like powerful enough that he was like, first of all, Null seems all powerful throughout this, and there's so many things that he's affected throughout Marvel Comics that you don't realize until they pack it in, kind of like they did the Century back in the day, right?
Right.
But to see this character so powerful, he's basically taken over, whatever he wants. To have a hero that comes out of, basically is powerful enough that he has Silver Surfer and Thor there just so we can take their stuff from them and make a new weapon. Like, he takes Silver Surfer's surfboard and Thor's hammer and puts it together and makes a weapon. You know what I mean?
It's so crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a good payoff for the story. It wasn't like, I mean, you wouldn't want that to happen every time, but it showed like how powerful he was,
Right.
So
right.
I would recommend
gotcha.
that. That was a really good story. And then also the other story that stands out to me that finished up this year was Immortal Hulk.
That's what I was going to say right there.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I haven't I it, but no, I agree with you. I think that's kind of turned comic books, besides Danny Cates doing everything that he is doing, or Donnie, right?
Donny Cates, yeah. He takes over on Thor now. That's what he's working on now. So,
he's kind of like the future of comic books right now.
He's the present.
Oh yeah.
Really
well,
is,
yeah.
I mean, we got the Silver Surfer Black. We got the Absolute Carnage stuff. Seems like everything he touches is good. I would say him and John Hickman. Who's now rebooted not only the Fantastic Four completely, and made them relevant at the time, and then now he just did the same thing with X-Men with the Powers of X and all that.
Cool.
So I would say those are probably two of, especially in Marvel, I guess those are two of the more prolific writers, that are pushing creators that are pushing things forward. On the DC side, James Tynion is doing a decent job on Batman. There's been some weird stuff happening on the DC side with their future state stuff, and it's okay. It's just not. I don't know. It's not as compelling.
DC's like 50-50 all the time.
Yeah, well, I'm like, okay, so
Um,
I don't know if you've seen the Task Force X. That's not the name of it, but it's basically that, but it's a bunch of zombies and Jason Todd being the head of Suicide Squad that's made up of zombies, of dead people.
hmm.
And I'm like,
No?
why does Jason Todd have to be in this? You know, like,
Yeah.
why's the Red Hood got to be in everything now?
Yeah.
So,
Right.
yeah, like, he's their Wolverine, if you will, right this moment.
Oh,
You know
okay,
what
okay.
I mean? Or their Batman, for that matter, you know?
Hmm.
So,
No, I mean, I forgot which issue of Immortal Hulk before I canceled my subscription. So I'm waiting to fill my gaps, and then I'm just going to sit down and read them all,
it
all
was
50.
I won't. It was a different ending than I expected. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm
Cool.
not saying it's good, but it was a great. The 50 issues were amazing.
That's cool that they only did 50. How many years is that? 4? 5?
4 or 5, yeah.
Yeah, 5. It'd have to be 5, right?
Well, 48 would be 4 full, like one a month.
Oh, okay.
But
Yeah.
yeah, whatever.
Math, not a friend of me.
I think that was
but
one
other
of the
than that,
most interesting takes on the Hulk that we've had in a long time. You know,
most interesting takes on anything, I think, in Marvel for a very, very long time, besides
sure.
King in Black, So, which I'm looking at King in Black #1 right now. It's weird. Yeah.
There's
Okay,
omnibuses
so
out now. You can get.
nice. That's the thing. If you want to read, either go online and get a subscription, or just get the omnibuses. Most people, I know that the comic book place that I go to now, he's trying to give away his graphic novels,
Isn't that crazy?
40% off and shit. Yeah, it's crazy. And then I just go to look at his back issues.
Right.
I'll just go dig for like 20 minutes.
Anything else in comics stand out to you, sir?
Not really. I don't really read a lot of the new ones, as we've established.
I'm very select.
Yeah. I'm going back, and because again, I'm reading all those years that I was reading Marvel. It's weird. All the years that I was only reading Marvel is the years that I'm going back to in the comic books. It's kind of strange.
Yeah.
In DC. So, but it's cool. Okay. So I guess this will be it. What were the things that you found that were older, like gems?
I'll say one of the things that I enjoyed the most this year, as we always talk about, we kind of, I don't know, myself, I'm a treasure hunter on the side. I'm always looking for those hidden gems at weird shops and stuff. And I think my favorite thing that I got this year was that Rare Hendrix album. Not that it's rare, that's the name of it.
Rare Hendrix, yeah. No, that's a
And-
pretty cool record too.
And I've enjoyed
It really is.
That's probably the record I've listened to the most this year, like actual vinyl.
Nice.
So that's probably something where I delved a little more into some of his live recordings as well online. So
Nice.
yeah, not that it was the year of Jimi Hendrix, but that was a great album, and it really got me back in that mood. And then, of course, to have it all butted up at the end with the Beatles was nice as well.
Yeah. I think that was my little hidden one that I had listened to before over and over again, but never really paid attention to it until that miniseries. And I would almost have to say, music-wise, Like Clockwork from Queens of Stone Age, just because I don't know, that album is so fucking personal, but it's so good. It is like so good. So good.
I think it's
Every
important
bit
to-
of it's
I think it's important to rediscover albums.
yeah.
And I do it occasionally. Sometimes, the same album gets rediscovered again. And that's not a whole year thing by any means, but like a month ago, like I dug real deep into Master of Puppets For some reason,
Yeah.
I was just like, I'm gonna dig on this for a while, and I did.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's an important part of just music in general. And I'll be honest, I tried to come up with what was new music that like really blew me away in 2021. The only thing, and again, this could be because I'm out of the loop. That's a possibility, but I also just didn't see a ton of good music come out. And that was maybe the new Foo Fighters album. It's pretty good. It grew on me. It took me a minute, but it's still not my favorite Foo Fighters album by any means. Probably not in the
Gotcha.
top, not in the upper
Well, it was a
echelon.
year of Dave Grohl this year. He came out with a book. It was Nevermind's 30th anniversary.
Yeah.
There was just a lot of things that revolved around Dave Grohl this year.
Well, I think what made me go back and listen to that album again after my first listenings to it was the fact that we got the tickets to the movie that they filmed while they were doing all that. And I was like,
Right.
let me check out this album again. And
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
good. It's good. And just like I think when I first heard it, I was like, yep, that's the Foo Fighters. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's more
Yeah.
of the Foo Fighters. So
Yeah. They have a formula. They stuck with it, and it's been good the whole time.
Yeah.
No
complaints. But yeah, nothing
Yeah.
blew me away that was like new. Like I've never heard anything like this before. It just didn't happen. Did see a Post Malone
Right.
concert.
No.
For what I did, for what that's worth. That
Oh,
was the
that's
only
right,
live
that's right.
performance I saw all year, besides comedians.
Yeah, didn't go to a live show. Except for Morrissey again, and it was just Morrissey again. He was like, if you're not Mexican, I'm not your friend. It's pretty crazy to go see one of the most pretentious, assholes in the history of music, which is he's literally like a poet anyway.
Right,
He's more of a
right.
poet than anything. Have his own store, the Morrissey store is crazy, T-shirts, posters, everything like that, and then come out and he must have done it just for the money. I don't know.
I'm not a fan of Morrissey, but I know you, and I know your wife specifically is.
Yeah, it's her favorite.
Yeah, and that's cool. And I've had a lot of friends that really dig on some Morrissey, and it's just never been something I've been into.
I find songs of his all the time that I'm like, wow, that is really good.
Right on. Man.
That I'll have on my randomizer on my iTunes and just be like, wow, where did that come from?
Right
But
on. Yeah, and again, that people like Depeche Mode.
Yeah,
those people.
Depeche Mode.
Those people also like Morrissey. No.
Yeah. Most of the time.
Yeah. I mean, there's a a vein.
But I mean, I guess that I would say that would almost wrap up the episode.
Yeah.
For this week. What do you think?
I think so. My favorite part of 2021, also making this show. And
yes.
Being reached out to by people who, I would have never thought to reach out to myself and reach out to us, and we talked to them about some really cool things. I'm excited about 2022 going into doing some of these cool things with even more fervor than we've had in the past.
Yes. Now we got the guns, but you guys got the numbers.
That's right. And how can you help us with the numbers? Just listen, or at least download.
Just listen.
You don't really have to listen. You can just download.
Want to say thank you to everybody out there that has listened this year.
Absolutely.
It's incredible. It's really cool that we do something like this, which is completely 100% fun for us. And that's what we do it for. We do it for fun. We love talking about this stuff. And there's people out there that listen, which is awesome. I think it's great. I think it's cool.
Absolutely.
There's at least 2 other people out there that are like us.
It's at least double of that of just people who hate us. So yes. I think we're doing okay. Yeah. We're doing okay.
We're doing good. Doing good. Well, anything else you want to mention?
No, I think, just keep listening, and I hope you all have a wonderful 2022, and hope that we're here with you through that. And it's okay. It's not 2022 TOO. It's 2022, which is a different year altogether. You're fine.
2022.
Yes.
Is it?
Yes. But with that,
Well,
that's all I've got, man.
Yeah. We'll talk next week on the next episode of Drop Culture.
Confused you won't be after this episode of Drop Culture.
All right. Later, everybody.
Peace. I can hear when the pig whispers sweetly, jealousy is the weapon you kill me. Keep a dime for a truth you might tell.
You told a lie, and I don't know why.
You told the line, and I know it was mine.
Yeah, I'll just sing
dude,
it, and you
dude,
just interpret it.
Yeah, dude, I'm the same way, though. I'm like, no, this is the fucking lyric because it's better. I do that all the time. I'm like, no, this is a much better line.
Yeah, I like
Only
that
they
one.
could have been better writers.
If only they could have fucking played their craft a little bit better.
Yeah, you know. Fucking stone tipple pilots.